Hey there, YouTube. It's Kurt here. Today we're going to talk about analytics in Yu-Gi-Oh! And how important they are and how you can have access to them. All right, so out of all the videos that I've watched of different Yu-Gi-Tubers, almost none of them have mentioned Yu-Gi-Oh! Scope. And I think that might be partially because it might be something that a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Players in the professional world want to kind of keep away from more casual players so that they don't get that competitive edge. But I'm here to bring this to you because I really wish I found out about this sooner, and I want to kind of give an overview of how to interpret the data of Yu-Gi-Oh! Scope. So there's a lot of data on this website. Obviously, if we go and look, we can look at the card by card and see like win percentages with certain cards, and there's a lot to unpack there. And really, one question I address is, can we evaluate the viability of a card based on win percentage? And I think the answer is a little bit of yes and no, because there's a lot of aspects to unpack there. So I think a lot of the Yu-Gi-Oh player community would agree that Cosmic Cyclone, at least right now, is better than Mystical Space Typhoon. And so if we look up these two, we look that they have very different win rates. But we can't simply explain. Right now, we can see MST is in like the 30s, and win percentage is extremely low, and then Cosmic Cyclone is like 53, 54. So on the surface, that looks like Cosmic Cyclone is that much better, but it can't simply just be explained by that. We also have to remember that Mystical Space Typhoon is like a classic anime card that's one of the oldest cards out there, and a lot of players that just might not know the game are more likely to play Mystical Space Typhoon. So that's not like an accurate comparison between two cards of being always played in really competitive decks. But I do want to make a contrast here. There are some cards where I feel like this is more applicable. I think without a doubt we could say that Cosmic Cyclone is better, and we would have the numbers to back that up. I think still it definitely backs it up. Let's look at going second cards. So a lot of times I am a fan of going second decks, and a lot of you know that watch my channel. Those that do, which isn't many, but you know I like to play trains. So based on this analytical research, I will compare going second cards that are more generic. So we'll look up Kaiju. And when we look up Kaiju, well, the numbers don't look all that promising, but we'll look for the one that's most popular, Gameciel. The win percentage with Gameciel is about 51%. And we know Gameciel is pretty much used for one thing only, and Gameciel is used for spot removal. Well, let's compare that to a card that's really generic going second and really extremely powerful. We'll compare it to Mind Control. Well, now we can compare it to Mind Control. Mind Control has a win percentage of 54%. And that, again, that could be for a combination of reasons, but these are both really big sample sizes here. And the thing, we have to evaluate things about the cards themselves. Kaiju does remove a resource on the spot, but right now we're also in a format where both control and combo are both really powerful right now. And if you just Kaiju over a monster, you're still giving them a resource. If you have Mind Control, not only are you essentially removing a problem monster, you're giving yourself a resource. So if you Mind Control their Apollosa, well, that is like game over. That's just how disgustingly good Mind Control is. In this format, it's essentially Change of Heart, and honestly, it probably should be banned. I'm not going to lie there, but I'm still going to play it because it's so freaking good, and going second isn't as good as it should be. So I think when you combine all these factors together, you actually have really good interpretive data, and this is part of the analytics is why I decided to go Mind Control over Kaiju, even though Kaiju does solve a lot of problems. So with my deck, why I like to play Urgent Schedule, if there's still a problem monster on the field, there are some situations when Kaiju would be better, but if I still want to use Urgent Schedule, I can just use Mind Control, Chainlink 2, Urgent Schedule, and then when everything resolves, you'll still steal the monster, and then you have 2 free summons. Pretty broken, and the ceiling is just a lot higher in that scenario, and I think that's why we should not sleep on this. Mind Control is just so good. And I think within this, you can make a lot of other comparisons, too. So, like, again, I've been playing Salamangreat recently. I've been experimenting with Red Resonator, and a lot of other people have, too. And we can see here, when we actually look up Red Resonator, it's not not as good as like the regular Salamangreat's win percentage, but it's still at 52, and I think most people are playing that in Salamangreat. So I think there's an argument to be made that Resonator is actually a decent tech option in the Salamangreat builds right now. So there's a lot to unpack there. These are just my thoughts. Again, these are tips. Again, this is Yu-Gi-Oh! Scope, and feel free to go to that website. I don't feel like people talk about this enough. I don't feel like people talk about analytics enough. And so there's a lot of interesting interpretations you can make here, and it's a little bit different than net decking, but this will probably help you make better tech choices in the future, in my opinion, just by making these comparisons. And I think they're helping me out already, and I wish I knew about this website before, but thank you, Robbie. Robbie MCole40, he brought this to attention in his last video, and I'll make a lot more research-based discussions in the future. All right, so thanks, guys. Peace.